Flamengo fans are getting excited about the result of the West Ham game. And there's the case of Lucas Paquetá not having played in the match. He wasn't even included in the squad, and we'll talk about that here. Another game that doesn't involve us. Also bringing here other important information about Flamengo and Delacruz. Man, there's some very important news about Nicolas Delacruz. There's also another important piece of information about Lucas Paquetá's transfer situation. Already getting ready to come to Flamengo. So we're bringing you everything here on the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel. Straight from Paparazzo's kitchen, enjoying a small coffee. It's a bit earlier here. We watched the West Ham game and we have everything ready to bring to you. Remember, man, that this week, did I mention it earlier? This week could be decisive for Lucas Paquetá's situation. I'm going to start here the usual way. Hey guys, red and black greetings. This is Flamengo. Welcome to the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel. If you're new, please follow, like, and share on all platforms. On YouTube, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like the video. No one leaves in debt to us. Vasco is looking to sign Davidson. Man, let's mess with Vasco and Davidson. Let them sign Davidson. That's right, man. Someone told me in a group here. I didn't believe it. No. Davidson at Vasco. That's right. Vasco is negotiating the signing. Davidson would be on his way to Vasco. Striker Davidson terminates his contract with Fortaleza. I hope he goes, right? I hope he goes to Vasco, man. It would be good, huh? It would be cool for us to face Davidson more often, right? You have to deal with it now, right? Mengao is here. Davidson, look, have you seen this? By the way, you can get it. I'll leave the link there too, the Kit Club link, right? You can get it from the store, right? From the official products. Look, Libertadores here. Look, Davidson here. Look. After you won that title there, we've already won two, huh? In 2022 and 2024, huh? Yeah, Davidson, you have to deal with Mengao, huh? Now let's share some key info about Lucas Paquetá. Why did West Ham win? 3-1 against Sunderland at home. Lucas Paquetá wasn't even on the squad. It's another game that West Ham wins without Lucas Paquetá. Lucas Paquetá, who's having back problems. So Lucas Paquetá wasn't listed for the game, didn't go on the field, wasn't on the bench. It's another match that Paquetá is out of the lineup, right? So what now? West Ham secured their second straight win in the battle to avoid relegation. They're right behind Nottingham Forest, who have, if I'm not mistaken, 1 point, right? 1 point more than, 1 or 2 points more than West Ham, and there's still another team, the first team that's out of the relegation zone. They're 5 points behind, so West Ham is trying to escape the relegation zone. And the fans there are saying they don't need Paquetá, we don't need him. All the comments from West Ham fans are like that. We don't need him. A lot of West Ham fans are posting that they don't need Lucas Paquetá. And then we have Flamengo fans joking about it, right? Rafael Correa jokes, come on Paquetá, win the Copa Libertadores and the Brazilian Championship. Custodio and G. Custodio sent this in. When he doesn't play, the team wins. Thiago Peixoto. Flamengo keeps offering RMF, but West Ham rejects all of them. Okay, but if he's injured, how is he going to play? Okay, but it's another game he doesn't play, right? But everything at Flamengo turns into a soap opera, right? It's Neto Carvalho. West Ham is only winning now. That's 2 in a row without Paquetá. Yeah. People are saying he's injured, but it's just one more match, guys. And a lot of people are saying that, right? It's the game. People were saying it was 4-1, but it wasn't. It was 3-1, 3-1. It ended 3-1. That comment is wrong. That's it. We brought this information. It's about Lucas Paquetá, about the game, because regardless of whether he's injured or not, there are a lot of West Ham fans asking, why isn't he playing? Why isn't he playing if he's fine? What's this back problem? So it's a situation that the fans there aren't happy about, right? It's a situation that the fans there aren't happy about. So we have to bring it up, man. It's another game he doesn't play, and that's the information. He's not playing, and West Ham wins, right? In this fight, isn't it to avoid relegation? See the comments. The nation's prayer and Paquetá's own prayer. That's what 42 million positive thoughts do. You don't need him, right? The Flamengo fans are sending Bruno Reis. Then there's Diego Santana. It's better without Paquetá. Good for everyone. It's John da Silva. That's good because then they get rid of relegation quickly, and like that, they're free. Paquetá is the... Without Paquetá, the team seems to be improving. Rodrigo Farias, the team improved without him. Jesus Alves. Yeah, the team got better after he left. Valdesi is sending it, and he's not playing because he's coming back from an injury, okay? But the team is winning without him. And then the guys are like, don't you get the reason? The guys there are saying, we don't need him. They're saying that, and the Flamengo fans are joking, right? You don't need him, and that's what's happening, right? Escher even gave up trying to convince Paquetá to stay at the club, right? And he put his cards on the table for Flamengo to improve. It's a matter of upfront payment. So, according to news outlets, Escher has already given up trying to convince him to stay. All right, we have some information here published by Mengo Cria, okay? I found this really interesting here. Look, they just did a collab with us right now. Regarding Lucas Paquetá, news from the Extra newspaper. Lucas Paquetá finished building a mansion in Barra da Tijuca in Rio de Janeiro amid negotiations with Flamengo. The property was designed as a gift for his parents and will also serve as a temporary residence for the player and his family in case he returns to Brazilian football. So, Paquetá is already looking into it, see? The house is the one that will stay in Rio de Janeiro, already planning out the house where he'll stay at the beginning, during this return to Rio de Janeiro. Flamengo and Paquetá have a verbal deal for a 4-year contract, but the issue is agreeing on the price and other terms. They disagree on the payment method, release deadline, and everything else. These are situations that need to be resolved, as we've already mentioned here. Flamengo wants the player right away, and they want to keep him until the end of the season. But they also say that this obstacle has already been overcome, okay? This is the news from Extra. It's important news that Paquetá is finishing the mansion that was for his family, for him to use as well when he returns at the beginning of his return. So as soon as he comes back to Flamengo, okay? So here's another important piece of information about Lucas Paquetá. Look, we have some information here. Important. There's a player at Flamengo who's seen as a new Wesley, right? The club sees the fullback, Daniel Salles, right? He played well, especially against Vasco, right? He did great in that match. Daniel Salles has his contract renewed until the end of 2028 with a release clause of 50 million euros, which is 311 million reais. Flamengo views the fullback as a potential new Wesley, following the homegrown player's path to the Brazilian national team and transfer to Roma. So Flamengo has another star, another big sale, right? Hopefully they won't have to sell. Flamengo doesn't need to sell anyone else, right? But Flamengo thinks he'll follow Wesley's path, right? Daniel Salles is 19 years old. He was the new face among the starters. He did really well with the professionals and played very well there. He was discovered by Ibraxin, the team that knocked Palmeiras out of the Copinha, right? He was signed by Flamengo in 2022, still in the youth categories. So he's considered a great player, a real gem for Flamengo, yeah. Look, Flamengo is getting ready for the Fla-Flu with changes in the team and some important absences, okay? The squad got a day off this Friday and will report back on Saturday at Ninho do Urubu. Today, right? They report back. Today is to start preparing for Sunday's match tomorrow, 6 p.m. at Maracanã. Felipe Luis tends to rotate the squad, focusing on the Brazilian Championship and Super Cup. Leo Ortiz, Luis Araujo, Samuel Lino, and Pedro may start the match to gain rhythm, while goalkeeper Andriu, recently cleared, should be included for the first time. Arrascaeta, Jorginho, Arton, Lucas, Danilo, Delacruz, and Sol should remain out. Yeah, so according to GE, yeah, let me just say it here. They should remain out. That's for the Carioca. because our reporters said they are out. I don't think it's good to be so certain, right? There, it's in the Carioca. Flamengo is second to last in Group B outside the top four. Yeah, and they're trying to advance to the quarterfinals to avoid the relegation round and more games in an already tight schedule. All right, so we're bringing you this important information. So Flamengo getting ready for the match against Fluminense. They have to beat Fluminense. They had to beat Vasco. Now they have to beat Fluminense, right? It's crazy. Flamengo really needs to go after these points and then beat Sampaio Correa to qualify for the quarterfinals of the Carioca Championship. So let's go. Look, let me also bring some important information about Nicolas Delacruz, and then we'll bring another one. Lucas Paquetá. There's always a lot coming out about Lucas Paquetá, and we have to bring it up because this is really important information, right? Including the matter of Lucas Paquetá's value. Yeah, but regarding Nicolas Delacruz, we actually got some information here about how Nicolas Delacruz is being used. That's actually in the year 2026, right? Which is going to be a bit different from 2025. Yeah, we shared on our social media that Flamengo started the 2026 season with their main squad in the derby against Vasco. That was in the last round, but Delacruz was left out, right? Because of a regenerative procedure on his knee done during the vacation. They said it wasn't surgical. Is that right? And he finished the championship at a good level. In the case of the 2025 competitions, the 2025 season, especially the Intercontinental Cup final. He did really well against Paris Saint-Germain, came in strong, and was actually the only one to score the penalty, right? He was the only one who put it in for Flamengo. They adopted a specific plan, and that's for Delacruz. To improve in 2026, the plan is to strictly control workload and playing time year-round to prevent early fatigue in less important games. It's similar to what happened with Delacruz in past seasons during the Carioca Championship, right? Decisions about training, physical recovery, and possible rest games go directly through Felipe Luis in alignment with the medical department. The model follows the example applied with Arrascaeta in 2025, which resulted in high performance throughout the season. In addition, Flamengo is considering the likely call-up of Delacruz for the World Cup, right? That could also happen, and then it's wear and tear. The midfielder is still in the club's plans. He hasn't been put up for sale. It's important to say that. According to GE, we had already said that, okay, guys, if you follow us here, we had already said that he wasn't put up for sale, contrary to what a lot of people said, and he's already back to training on the field individually, responding well to the treatment. If an offer comes close to what Flamengo paid River at the time, right, the release clause, okay, but Flamengo is not putting the player up for sale, neither him nor Plata. They're not for sale unless a really good offer comes in. Flamengo evaluates. They're not among the untouchables. Delacruz and Plata are not among the untouchables. But Flamengo is not putting them up for sale, right? Are they going to use them? Flamengo will consider a strong offer. Okay, that's the situation. That's theirs. It's about the Lucas Paquetá issue, which I told you we would bring you information about. In partnership with Flavela Official, he included us in the collab here, man. Look, talking about the record, right? Look at that, Lucas Paquetá, right? You guys are following the setup, right? The art on the Flavela Official profile is record. If Flamengo closes the deal for 40 million euros with taxes and fees, the total cost of the operation would reach about 47 million euros. Between 45 and 47, making Paquetá's signing the most expensive in the history of Brazilian football. If Flamengo settles for 40 million euros, taxes and fees bring it to around 45 or 47. But there's still the solidarity mechanism, about 2 million euros, 4% of the deal. Flamengo, as Paquetá's developer, is entitled to the return. They are responsible for his development. So Flamengo would also have that deduction at the source, that's it. The deal puts Flamengo in the second biggest signing in the world. In the January 2026 window, the biggest signing in the history of Brazilian football. What makes up this amount? Confirming the 40 million euros owed to the English club plus 5 to 7 million for taxes and international fees. You also need to deduct the solidarity mechanism, but it's still the world's second biggest January signing. Look at Flamengo now, the second biggest signing in the world in the January window so far, right? And Flamengo also with the most expensive signing in the history of Brazilian football, already surpassing Gerson's, now from Cruzeiro. Flamengo had Samuel Lino, Cruzeiro surpassed with Gerson, and now Flamengo surpassing again. If they sign, Paquetá should sign, right? The amount there, approximately 45 million euros, already deducting the solidarity mechanism, is a very high amount, right? You still have to consider signing bonuses, commissions, undisclosed amounts, right? It's an absurd record. Please subscribe, enable notifications, and like the video. Thanks for your support. Red and black greetings. This is Flamengo.